snowing, snowing, and we stopped and we were sunny out there, and like 5 minutes later, it was like sun came, like sun behind the cloud, and then the snow came down, and like 30 minutes later, the sun came out and it was sunny outside, and like got 10 minutes later, and it's windy and snowing again.
That's right. So
it was silly.
Today was crazy weather, right?
Yeah.
So the temperature was how cold. The temperature is how cold or how hot
I can
something
go
is.
here.
Well, don't worry. Okay. So weather can also be wet or dry, right?
Or cold.
When is it wet?
Summer.
Spring and summer. When it's what? Is it sunny when it's wet?
Yeah. No.
You're right. Go ahead. Tell me.
Because
Keep going.
it's warm. No, it has to be cold. No, it has to be rain. So because it's summer and spring, there's lots of rain.
Right. So when it's wet outside, it's raining, right? And when it's dry outside, it's sunny, right? Okay.
Like Las Vegas.
That's right.
It's dry, hot, and warm. And desert.
Okay. So, animals and plants, they live and grow in different places. So polar bears, they live where the weather is cold, right?
Or they're going to die.
Right. And plants, like moss, they live in places where it's wet and damp all the time.
Bears.
Like in the rainforest.
Or bears cannot live in cold place.
Bears can live in cold places.
Oh.
They have brown bears, Kodiak bears, black bears, and they all live up north.
You have to live in wet place.
He has to live in a wet place,
Yeah.
right? Just because he has to keep his skin moist all the time.
If he dries, he's a frog.
Because if his skin dries out, he will die. Right?
Let him die.
No, you can't say that. Everything on this planet depends on something else to survive.
And Gomopo, I learned this new today. So, like, if you do something, like 100 is good and 100 is bad. Do you know why? So, like, if some farmer trying to like build a farm here, but he had to cut down the tree. Then where they live here, they have to find other shelter. And so if he is gone, then we get fruit and it's good, and animal can die.
Oh, really? Because they're taking away their habitat.
Yeah.
Right.
So like that's not good thing, and the one thing is a good thing for people. So if you want to cut down the tree, then you have to plant the tree.
That's right. So if you cut a tree down, you have to plant a tree.
Yeah.
Because if you cut too many trees down, the birds don't have a place, the squirrels don't have any place to go.
Or bugs that live in the tree.
That's right. Okay, so climate and regions. I don't think we went over this yesterday. This is where we stopped because I don't think we went over this. Okay, so the weather is a place. The weather a place has over a long period of time is called climate. Okay, so for instance, in Antarctica, right? What do you think the weather is in Antarctica? It's always cold, right? So when it's cold out, what do you always have? Snow, right? So what's the climate in the Antarctic?
Snow.
Cold and snow, right?
And ice.
That's right.
And polar bear.
So if you go to let's say South America, it's always hot and warm down there, right?
Or Las Vegas.
Or Las Vegas, right. So what's the climate in Las Vegas? Hot and dry, right?
And the desert, they're hot and dry.
Very good.
And they have rain, but sometimes they do, but they don't have a lot, like Kansas.
Right. So now a certain area has a climate, but they also have regions, right?
What's Kansas?
So if you take Kansas is right here.
But we live in Missouri.
Right. So Kansas City is right there.
It's cold and it's warm and wet.
Right.
But if you see Las Vegas, it's warm.
That's right. Las Vegas is right there.
And it's orange.
Right.
Orange
That's part of hot and dry, right?
And what's this?
Marine.
And what's club?
Cold. It's purple. All this area is cold. In the wintertime, it gets really snow. There's a lot of snow up here when it's cold out.
What's this blue?
That's marine. That means that it's ocean. For instance, Washington and Oregon on this coast, because the location of the mountains.
New York is all cold.
New York, no. It's only in the wintertime it's very cold. But this area here, it rains almost every day. It almost rains. My sister lives right there, and it rains almost every day. I think maybe she has maybe 2 months of sun every year. The rest of the time it's raining. So this whole area where it's blue, the marine area, it has a lot of rain.
Christopher live?
Christopher, he lives. You see that little thing right there in New York, at the bottom of New York? He lives right out there.
Really? What's green mean? Warm and...
Warm and wet.
Oh.
It's like these areas are warm and wet.
Then where we are right now,
See where that square is right there? We're right there.
Where house is half of the country.
We're in the warm and wet climate. In the warm and wet region. Okay. All right. So tornadoes. Remember? Do you remember what the difference is between tornadoes and hurricanes? Tornadoes are on land. Hurricanes are in the ocean, and they come to land from the ocean. Okay.
And if tornadoes start at ocean, tornado can like bring the ocean to the land.
No, actually, a tornado starts on the land.
Oh.
A hurricane starts in the ocean and comes towards the land. So,
would you rather happen tornado or hurricane?
nothing. None of them. You kidding? That's crazy.
If you have to choose.
Well, if we have enough time, if we have a hurricane, we have enough time, we can run to the basement and we'll be safe. So that's fine. I think a hurricane is a lot better than, a tornado is better than a hurricane.
Why?
Because a hurricane, if it's strong enough, it brings a lot of water. And it can really make a city wet, and it can really cover a city.
Mine is never going to be wet.
Right.
And I hate to be wet.
All right. So, environment. The environment is the air, the land, and the water, and life around us.
Wait, no, we did, remember?
Yeah, we did this yesterday. All right. So, the environment is the plants, the animals, and the people, and the buildings that surround the area that we live in. So, you remember what an urban environment is?
Yeah.
Urban is
like a farm.
No. Urban is city.
Oh, yeah.
So what kind of environment do we have in the city? We have what?
More.
Tall buildings, right?
There's more.
We have tall buildings.
More. My downtown is city.
Highways, apartments, buildings, things like that, right? Now, where we live here in Raymore, that's called suburban, right? Because it has houses and stores, but we don't have the really tall buildings.
Yeah.
Now, what you were thinking here is rural, right? When you live in the country, it's rural, okay? So, what do you think? What kind of environment do you think is in the rural area?
Farm.
Right. So it's more land, right? Grass, trees. There are some roads, but it's more green, right?
Why is not horsey?
Cows, horses, right? Okay.
So, one day I want to go to
Rural
and ride a horse.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so here it says, people change the water. Okay, a dam is a wall across a river, like this one in Las Vegas. This is the Hoover Dam. And
It can just have this.
Oh. Do you know which animal makes a natural dam?
Beaver.
Very good. Good job.
They also eat trees.
Do they?
Yeah.
I know they cut them down with their big teeth.
And they when they hungry they go like, pretend this is wood and it really looks like wood. And I'm beaver. They go like this.
Okay.
So like they eat the tree.
That wasn't a beaver. You look like a zombie.
No, beaver is like this. Look at me go over. There was a mouse, Yana. It was a mouse.
Okay, so dams hold back the water, right? And people also build canals in order to transport things. Do you know if you go to Europe, there's a country called Holland, and Holland has many canals.
What's canals?
It's, let's say there's a bunch of buildings here and a bunch of buildings here. They're separated by water. men made like a road made of water. So they can take their boats and drive through the canal so they can transport things. Okay.
한나야. 다리 내려.
Okay. So remember we talked about cause and effect.
넌 내려가.
If you're
빼빼로
outside
내려가.
outside in the rain, the cause is the rain, and the effect is
You put the umbrella.
very good.